Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine, as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Hey guys, welcome back to Our Deepest Fear with your host, Roman Zaradyansky, or Romza, whatever you want to call me. Today I'm here with a very special guest. She's a 4-time MMA world champion. She's a Canadian Muay Thai champion. She's an instructor at Gibson MMA, and she has a bachelor's in human kinetics. She grew up in Canada. Seems like a small town, Roberts Creek on the Sunshine Coast of British Columbia. And she was just really, really excited when she was young and she saw Ben Johnson take home the Olympic gold medal for the 100-meter race. And she wanted to be part of that kind of magic, that excitement that gets a whole country behind you, that gets everybody smiling, and that picks up the energy. And she started doing stuff. She started practicing different things like track and field and soccer and baseball. And she was just looking to fuel that competitive spirit inside. And then the teenage years happened. She went to high school, friends, parties, all the fun stuff. And then one day, her friend asked her to go to Muay Thai class. And she said yes. And it's been a love affair ever since. It's been a lot of highs and lows, lots of highs and lows, and we're going to jump into those. But today we are here with Julie Budd, and she has been kicking ass on the world stage for many years now. And today she's going to kick some of your asses with her story. So welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I mean, truly, it's my pleasure. What keeps you in the game? Like, what keeps you coming back? Like, not coming back to competition, but coming back to training every day. Because that's the hard part, right? Like, it's not the lights. It's the daily grind.
Yeah, I think that I get excited about learning new skills. And that's pretty much it. It's like sometimes it can feel like it's the same old thing over and over and over again. And then with martial arts, then you're like given an opportunity, whether you're sparring or crossfighting or something like that, to try these techniques, and then something clicks, and it almost like, I feel like it almost like rehooks you back to the, committing to wanting to learn more.
For sure. What are you enjoying learning right now?
Southpaw. So I've been doing martial arts for like 20 plus years, and I've always been orthodox. And in the last few months, I've switched my stance to just start learning from my Southpaw stance. And so it's kind of good because I feel totally like a complete beginner now that I've switched my stance. So it's kind of fun because, I'm trying it in sparring, and I'm just, trying to, get better.
What do you consider yourself primarily a martial artist or an athlete?
Ooh, I feel like it's both. If you said
which one comes first?
I think martial artist, personally. I think martial artist. And I like the whole aspect of martial arts, how you kind of, when you come in, you empty your cup and you're there to learn, and you're there to, help other people as well as yourself. That's what I like about martial arts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a process. It's interesting, right? Like the difference. It's an interesting like dynamic because today in today's world, it's almost like you can almost switch the words, right? Like in the sense of like because it's all such a big sport now.
Yeah.
But it's different because I mean in my zoomed out perspective, it's like an athlete is really focused on the results.
Hmm.
It's very results based, but a martial artist is focused on the process.
Yeah, totally.
And that changes the game because then you can actually improve as opposed to just get broken.
Exactly. And also, I think I agree with that in the sense is like the process, if you're always worried about results, you only get to see kind of results once or twice a year if you're lucky, or three times a year if you're fighting and you're really busy. But when you're committed to the process, then you get to kind of feel those results throughout the whole way. And so you're not like just gearing up to this, either this massive excitement or this massive crash, depending on the result, you know? And I think in the beginning stages of my career, that's what it felt like. It would be like this huge high or low. And now it's like, oh, win, awesome, loss, okay. Like, it's not one thing or the other. It's not going to be like a huge setback in my career,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it totally makes sense because like you get to like consistently learn.
Hmm.
Right. I mean, I've never had a loss where I didn't come back so much better because of the loss. But if I would have won, I would have never gotten that much out of that thing.
Exactly. Totally.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's the hard lessons that kind of teach you the most, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, if we keep only learning the easy lessons, life is hard. Because
yeah.
I mean, how old are you?
37.
I mean, there's going to be life after martial arts
Yeah.
or after athletics, not martial
Yeah.
arts, maybe martial arts forever, right? So that's when it starts to get easier, probably because the hard lessons were learned before.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
What was it like growing up in a small town?
I think I loved it because it's like everybody knew one another. The community kind of looks out for each other. There's a lot of eyes on everything that you do, which can feel, you know, it can feel a little bit claustrophobic, but also that people have your best interests at mind and at heart. So, when I was not doing so well, my parents would get a phone call before I'd even be able to get home from school to tell them or something like that. So it was good in that sense. Yeah, I love that aspect of it. And but at the same time, I think that for it's limiting in the sense of seeing like your world is pretty small
Perspective.
if you don't have a chance to kind of travel and see what other kids or teenagers or people are doing at your level or higher levels to kind of strive towards.
Yeah. Napoleon Hill said, I believe in the law of success, that for a man or woman, but woman didn't exist 100 years ago.
No.
Man.
No.
But for a man to be successful, a city boy has to visit the farmland and the farmer has to visit the city.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in Brooklyn, like New York.
Okay.
So I
Wow.
had totally the other end
Yeah.
of the spectrum where like
Yeah.
nobody gave a fuck.
Yeah.
Nobody, like we didn't even know our next door neighbors' names.
Yeah.
It was just like it's a crazy way to grow up. But I guess every way to grow up is just different,
Yeah.
What were
Exactly.
you like as a kid?
Really, I think that I was pretty wild, and but like I was athletics. Everything I wanted to do was through sports or playing outside, or um my best friends were boys, and I kind of just was a tomboy, I guess you'd call it, back then. And I think it kind of made me into who I am because I played sports against guys all the time. And then when I had to, as uh as kids in the small community started to go through like puberty, we got separated into females and boy sports. So, and then I hated it, so I just quit team sports because it was kind of, just wasn't fun anymore. It wasn't competitive. was sort of,
Did
yeah,
you
it
used
just
to crush all of them?
well, I don't want to say crush all of them because there was one girl specifically that was always better
What
than me.
was her name? Tell me her name. I know you remember.
Tanya. Oh yeah. Her name was Tanya Hodala, and I could never beat her. And I would try my hardest to like, cause it would be in track and field or baseball or soccer. She was just phenomenal. And she actually, I kind of like, I looked her up like 10 years ago, and she went and played, I think high or college basketball and went further with her athletics as well. But it drove me like it just drove me to do better. So like I remember losing, and I'd always play second in every 100 meter, and or like, she was really good. So it was
Wow.
good. I think that losing is an important lesson to learn as a kid too. Is like, you don't quit, you got to get better, or you know.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I bet you fuck her up now though.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey Tanya, if you're listening to this, we can set up the sparring.
Yeah, for sure. No, for sure.
Losing is really important. You know what I'm really impressed by? Like because like it's such a contrast, right? Like like a lot of people know how to win really well. A lot of people know how to win really well. But like Connor wins really fucking well, and he loses really well. Like when he speaks after the loss, it's not belligerent.
No.
Maybe like a month later it's belligerent, but like in that moment it's so impressive because it's such a contrast of like how the buildup goes.
Yeah.
Because it's like he's got a lot riding on it. He said a lot of shit every fight,
Yeah.
And then like to take that L is like,
yeah, for sure.
And he bounces back well. So
yeah,
it's awesome. I'm excited. I'm excited for the next fight. That should be fun.
Me too. It's though that's like going to be a good week that they just announced. They're doing like back-to-back cards over there. That's going to be cool.
Yeah, I actually went to my first UFC this year right before COVID.
Okay.
I was coaching this guy, and his uncles are the Fertitta brothers.
Oh.
And he went and like started to get, he's like a PT, so he went to start to get a job at the Performance Institute, and they gave him tickets for the event. It was Joanna and
oh wow.
Yeah. And it was like we were like 6th row or 5th row, like on the floor, and it was savage.
Yeah.
That like I was like, holy shit, what? Like that, those women just
fuck. I know. Yeah. That was an incredible fight.
Yeah.
That was an incredible fight. Yeah.
Her head was the most inflamed thing I have ever seen.
I know. Brutal.
Like there is no way that's not gonna have like permanent fucking like consequences.
I know. For sure. No, it was intense.
What a
it was. The fans won for that one. For sure.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot there. Like even seeing Romero, like the way that he's built, he's not a human.
No.
Like that dude had so many muscle striations. It's like humans don't, like he was like a horse.
Yeah.
He was like a horse.
Yeah. He is full. And how old is he?
He's like 70.
He's like he's getting younger.
he's at least 70. He's supposed to be like retired, like Social Security retired. No, but it's incredible. I mean, they don't make a lot of that.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stock, that's some serious fucking stock. But you too, man, like you're a specimen. You're like a physical specimen. Like I mean, because you're also not like 25. You're like on the higher range of like the women that you're fighting. And it's like, did you start late?
I did. My first MMA fight, I think, was when I was 27 or 28. 27. And so that was like my debut for MMA. And I thought I was going to be done. Like in my mind, I thought I was going to be finished, retired, kids by the time that I was 30. And then I lost. So in Muay Thai, in 2008 was my last Muay Thai fight. And then I retired. Like I was like, I'm not going to fight again. I'm done. And then I decided to start doing some jujitsu and grappling and just kind of learning new skills and just staying active. But I didn't think I was going to fight MMA. And then it was like, no, you're fighting MMA. This is like, if you know what, you're not going out on a loss. So even if you just do one MMA fight, don't like it. I was like, oh man, I was so scared, but I'm so glad I did it.
Did you fall in love with jiu-jitsu?
I love wrestling. I think I fell in love with the wrestling aspect.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's so hard and it's just like I fell in love with that part. And then like I think like learning, because I'm always been like really, really strong. So it's a place where you can use your strength like to the So I felt like when I would wrestle, it was like, oh, this is awesome. I can use my strength even more than I could in my kickboxing and learning those kind of positions and stuff. So I fell in love with wrestling, I think, and learning and not being good at it was like a big fire to make me good at it. So
yeah, I mean, when I first started wrestling, like there was a lot of people there that were at a relatively high level, US, like Americans, not like Russians. They're totally different. But like the Americans, and they were just fucking strong. Like they were just strong. They had like 2 takedowns, maybe 3 takedowns, 1 reversal, and like a little bit of like floor work. And like they took it all the way to college, like D1, D2.
Yeah.
But like it was so different because then I got the exposure to Russians, and they were like, they were strong, but like smooth. Like Americans didn't have like the fluidity. Like the Russians felt like they just did it forever. Like they were just born like with that stance, you know, with that stance.
Little tiny T-Rexes.
Yeah. I mean, in my country, that's like the national sport. So cool. Like everybody wrestles.
Wow.
I thought it was really like fruity to wear the fucking singlet. So I just didn't wrestle until I was 18.
Yeah. And you're like, I should have done this.
Yeah, for sure. Did your family like support your athletic endeavors growing up?
Oh yeah. My dad wanted me to be a soccer player, but I kind of fell out of, I didn't love it like this, you know? And so they always wanted me to play sports but when I first started fighting, they were not very supportive at first, till they realized, I think, the dedication and the training, how serious I was taking it. And then slowly the first fight they came to me in mine, they were like screaming and cheering and loving it. So I think it just took that. It was like that period of time before, like, what is this that you've gotten yourself involved in? And then when they saw it, they're like, wow, but it took that.
How involved is your dad right now?
Well, he's a huge fan. So he's involved, but like just more so like cheers me on.
He follows the sport now and stuff?
Oh yeah. He follows it. He's got like the apps on his phone to watch, and he watches. And like I think that was, for him, it was harder. My loss against Cyborg and losing my belt was harder for him than me. Yeah. So that's kind of what sucks when you lose the people around you, I think. Because like I can handle that, but I think for people that are close to me, seeing that was really hard.
Beautiful lessons for them to learn too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know why I ask? Because in my community here, we actually have a few UFC fighters that live here.
Okay.
And one of them's like, I don't usually meet like a lot of like, first of all, like high level women in like MMA. I meet like high level women in jiu-jitsu and stuff. And also like few and far in between. Like it's still like we're at least like 10, 15 years behind when it comes to like women's like MMA and the density of the amount of population than men's. But one of the guys, I was just like walking around, this guy was wearing a UFC shirt, and I was like, hey, like why are you wearing a UFC shirt? And he's like, oh, my daughter fights in the UFC.
Oh, wow.
And her name is like Miranda Granger.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And he was like so into it.
Oh yeah.
That's why I ask, like, what's your father like
Yeah.
when he about with the events?
Yeah, that would be my dad for sure. And she actually lives up close to us, and she lives in Seattle as
Hmm.
well. So maybe they've got a place down there as
He
well. But
does, and she just comes down over here
oh, cool,
because I live
awesome.
like, I don't know, 10 minutes from the Performance Institute.
Oh, cool.
So what are like some of the things, what are some of the obstacles as a woman in the sport that you've noticed that men don't have?
Well, I think that pay, like equal pay, is still a thing. So I think that that's maybe and competition. Like when I was starting, not now, I feel like there's more and more competition. That was actually one of the reasons when I continued doing MMA, is there was like competition in it, and girls were doing it. So with kickboxing, it was like I'd wait a year, sometimes more, to get a fight. And I think that that's it. It's like just kind of the fights. Like I wish I was more active. That's one of the
Mhm.
things that I feel is something that I like over the years. I wish that I could have had like 2, 3, 4 fights, but it was just like these kind of legs and time, and I used it to get better. So I used it for my training and just doing that. But I wish that I kind of could have stayed more active over the years. And I think that just kind of boils down to how many girls are signed in the division and who I fought already, and there wasn't a whole lot for my
Yeah.
weight class specifically, because I'm the higher end of, I fight at 145, and there's not a whole lot. There's more and more depth developing, but I think that over, like exactly how you said, like 10 years from now, it'll be packed and there'll be tons of, well, hopefully there'll be lots of fights for girls. But I think that, and getting paid, I think this last year has been kind of the first time that I've actually made money, not lost money on camps and fights and all that jazz. So I think that those are two of the things. And then just when I first was getting started, like now all these girls that are getting started have lots of girls to look up to and women to look up to, and
Yeah.
they're seeing fighters, and it's not uncommon. Whereas when I just had like a DVD of Lucia Riker that I'd like play and watch over and over again, and that was kind of who I had to look up to and study and want to be like. So
Wow. No models.
yeah, not really.
No models. Yeah, it's
No.
interesting. I mean, yeah, for sure. 10, 15 years, it'll be like the girls at my academy in Costa Rica, like
Hmm.
like that age, like they're like
Exactly.
22, 23, 24.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, they grew up in the fucking martial arts.
Yeah.
Like the girls
Exactly.
that I had at my academy in Costa Rica when I was running it, I mean, I had these two sisters, Sunny and Coco. Um, they were fucking savages. We only let them fight boys. We didn't
Yeah.
even put them in the girls divisions. And
Yeah.
like 2 years older. So 2 years older and boys. And it'd be
Yeah.
like all boy crying.
Yeah. No. We got a girl like that at our gym, and even when we brought her to some tournaments and stuff, we were like, I don't know if you want her to go. Like, we could stick her in a different division, because she's only 12 now, but she's been doing it since she was 4
Yeah.
with us, and she's rough. Like she's
Yeah.
so yeah, it'll be interesting to see them all come up in the sport, and yeah,
Yeah. That's exciting. So
totally.
I'm in like the wellness world also. So
Hmm.
one of the things that I'm always curious about is like, I know it's a lot harder for women to cut weight, like
Hmm.
hormonally, like there's a lot of stuff that's different for men and for women. So for the first question is like, what do you walk around at if you get down to 45? You fight at 45, right?
Yeah, I fight at 45, and I walk around at like 163 pounds ish. I mean,
Yeah.
it depends on how I'm splurging on my diet and stuff, but I just try to always, I think one of the ways that I've been able to stay active and stay competitive at my age is staying kind of ready. Not overtraining, but just kind of staying fit enough that, like, okay, if I had to head into a camp at any moment, I could. When I first started, I would just like completely stop training between the training camp, and then I'd stop and kind of, I don't even know, just eat and hang out and party a bit, and then it would be these legs, and then just getting myself into like that readiness feeling. would take like, I'd be like 3 weeks out from a fight by the time that I felt that. And I don't do that anymore. I can't.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
cutting weight for me, it really boils down to like keeping my diet clean pretty much year round as well. So I just try to kind of follow an 80-20 rule where I'm clean pretty much 80% of the time with my food, and then 20% of the time I eat chocolate or, you know, have a soda. Whatever I'm craving, really. I don't try to be too strict because I think it makes people get weird.
yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I mean, cutting weight is definitely rough on the body, especially from the people that like cut a lot.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of people that cut a lot of weight.
Yeah, there is.
And it's like that like little advantage. Like when I used to compete in jiu-jitsu, I never cut weight. Well, first of all, I never cut weight because there's just like not a lot of people in my weight class period. So I would always try to fight up like 2 or 3 weight classes. But like I just never felt good. Like I didn't like I hated training when I was cutting. Like I just like, and I also think that's like the difference, like that cycle that you talked about, like the different legs, like that's the difference between an athlete and a martial artist. And I don't mean that in like just the martial artist sense, but like Michael Jordan didn't have fucking seasons. LeBron doesn't have seasons. Kobe doesn't have seasons. They're training all year round. Like, but like the other athletes, like the B and C level athletes, they're having like the peaks and the valleys that they create themselves because it's like, oh, it's not time to play yet. No, it's always time to play. Until you're retired, you're playing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to retire a lot earlier.
Yeah, exactly. So, and also it's like, and nothing feels good. Like if I'm not physically active and moving, and I don't feel great. I feel like I'm missing something in my life, or missing kind of that feeling of like just health. And then the weight cuts are never really hard. Like I don't find it hard cutting 12 pounds or 13 pounds, but I would never want to try to cut down to 20, 30 pounds or what some people do. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a lot that needs to be done after that, like hormonally wise, especially for women, because fat's so important for women. Like you need fat on your body in order to like get your period. like there, you cut too much and then it's like, you might not get your period for a year or two. And it's like, that's fucking crazy. There's like a lot going on. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So what do you do anything else besides like martial arts training?
Yeah, I do. Well, I'm doing my Pilates. Like I'm hopefully going to become a Pilates teacher.
I love
so I'm
it.
kind of, getting into it. It's been something that I had a pretty bad back injury in 2016, and it was like, I swear by it, from how it healed my body, and by doing that, made me so much stronger. And so I love it. My cousins both kind of have studios and they were dancers, and now they're Pilates instructors, and I love it. They're my trainers. And so hopefully I'll be getting my Pilates teaching.
Nice.
So that's kind of just getting into it now.
What did you injure on your back, your lower back?
Yeah, my like L4, L5, I herniated a disc there, and it was just like brutal. But I think it was years building up to that kind of like point where my body was like, no, you're not going to recover from this one easily.
Yeah. I do some work in that field. Like specifically there, it's not, there's a lot of studies. There's a lot of like science behind it. What they say is that a lot of the back injuries, especially in the lower back, the injuries, they have a very direct correlation to a breathing dysfunction that as it builds up throughout the years, it's just like, it's like the straw that broke the camel's back or whatever. Because I had 4 herniated discs. I had 2 in my cervical, 1 in my T-spine, 1 in my lumbar, and I tore everything, like both rotators, my knee, my ankle. I mean, like it's rough being a 130-pound competitor in jiu-jitsu and being like, I'm gonna fight the absolute.
Yeah.
But like you start to figure it out. Like you found Pilates, like what a like that's a huge component for, I mean, even the transition from martial arts at some point, like as you get older, like you're not going to want to stop moving.
No, exactly.
You're not going to compete in MMA at 45 or
No.
whatever, you know. I mean, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, who
I don't
knows?
know.
But no, I won't be. So exactly. And it's been a way that I can it just exactly. I think it was so weird because when the day I got injured, it was just somebody was just passing my guard. And I was like trying to do a reversal, and then I was like, that didn't feel normal. But then my body just started to just shift all the way over to one side, and I was stuck like that for like 6-7 weeks. And I kept going to the like I've got a good chiropractor, and I saw people for that. But then as I got better, I started doing Pilates because I knew it was something. I was unstable somewhere or something in my low back and my core and all my muscles were weak. So I was like, I started doing it and it made me feel so much better. And knock on wood, but I haven't had an injury since there. So
I
it's
love
been
it.
good.
If you're ever in Vegas,
Yeah.
drop by. I'd love to like do some work with you. First of all, I'd love
Yeah.
to get some training in. I got
Yeah.
mats at my house. So
For sure.
I have like
Awesome.
my lab at home that I'm always like testing stuff on people and myself.
Awesome. And you're
But
doing some cool stuff on Instagram.
yeah.
Crazy. I was like, how I tried too, because you're like the pat your nose and rub your belly kind of thing. And then I was like, how the hell is he doing that with his arms? So that was pretty cool.
When I first started it, my teacher, like I was doing it and I literally looked retarded. And my teacher was like, that's how you know that your parents are first cousins.
Yeah, thanks.
Like, thanks. And then like that made me want to get it even more. So I just like stood in front of the mirror and just like practiced like figuring out like how to get my body to move. I mean, just like martial arts, like we don't know what the fuck we look like, especially like when we're throwing a punch. Like, I don't know if you remember like your first Thai boxing classes or striking classes where they're like, no, you can't lower your hand.
Yeah.
You're like, what are you talking about? You know, like we have no
Or they're
clue.
like, throw your left hand, you just keep throwing your right hand. You're like, everyone, yeah.
Those patterns are so deep. Yeah, I mean, I just like I think like my mission statement for life is just like really teaching people how to be more adaptable. Because the only thing that's guaranteed is like things are gonna change. Like I was working with somebody a few weeks ago and like young girl, like beautiful, like yoga instructor, and like one day like she was doing life and an autoimmune disorder like took her legs. She can't walk almost a year now. You know, and it's like we have no idea like what. And then the same day I leave, right? And my ex-wife sends me a message. She's like, isn't that your buddy Alex? And it's like my best friend in jiu-jitsu, like who I started with, just like died.
Oh my God.
2 years older than me, like ripped, jacked, congestive heart failure. And it's just
holy
like
shit. Yeah.
But those things really happen because essentially like we're just not fucking adaptable. We're really good at what we do, but we're really poor at like what we avoid and don't do.
Yeah.
And that's why we avoid it, because we don't want to suck at it.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to start talking to my parents about that. Cause I'm like, hey guys, they're physically active and healthy, but I think this year has put a lot of fear into people about when it comes to health and COVID and like this, like the news. If you turn on the news for 2 seconds, you can't without hearing it, just being like, ha ha ha. Like, and my parents, it's the first time I feel like I've really seen my parents scared. And I'm like, okay, so trying to like incorporate those aspects of adaptability and change and making sure that you're taking care of your health without listening to what they're telling you to do.
So Canada's the same, huh?
Oh yeah. We're just run by the United States. Like we basically watch our news, the US news pretty much. So it's the exact same.
We're run, but I don't know who. So I don't know, like legit, like we have no fucking clue who's really running this show. And I don't mean to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but like this is like, I mean, it's a crazy world. Like where the decisions that are being made, they're not very like logically sound in any way, shape, or form. So,
No.
I
It
mean,
all
it's
kind of doesn't make sense. It's like, what? Like, huh? Like in up until like like a couple weeks ago, they were saying that it was the whole mask thing, like not wearing masks, like not needing, like here. And we were kind of watching the US and everyone's like, whoa, the US is doing so bad. But it's we're just following like the numbers and the, you know, it just I don't know. It just seems like it's kind of just been a weird leg of like handling it.
well, it's also like super politicized
Yeah,
in some way,
it
shape,
is
or
a
form,
little.
right? Like,
Yeah,
uh,
100%.
yeah. I mean, I don't really have like I wasn't really pro Biden or pro Trump or anti either, but like after the election, it's just like nothing changed. Like nothing ever changes. Like people really believe that like some clown that's standing like on the TV is gonna change everything. Where it's just like like they're both like 80-year-old men. Like they have no connection with like the populace. Like they don't know what the fuck I need.
No.
So I don't know,
That's why
man.
it's important, I think. That the people are, yeah, I know. It'll be interesting, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think that it's going to mean 2021 all of a sudden pandemic's gone. I think literally people think that. It's like once 2020 is over, 2021 is going to roll in there and pandemic's going to be gone and we're not going to ever hear about COVID again.
I mean, we're gonna hear about COVID for pretty much the rest of our lives because it's
Yeah.
just gonna be there like the
Yeah,
flu.
exactly.
And people are just panicking right now because like look, the United States, if you really look at the data, like if we're looking at just like data and we put no opinion on it, right? 42.4% of the United States is obese. 42.4% by the CDC. That is like the literally like the number. I believe in the United States, 66.6% approximately of people say that they're unhappy. Both of those things are huge like pressures on your immune system, your psychological health, really unhappy. Like it's all of this stuff are symptoms of like a system really that doesn't fucking work. Like overall, like it's not just like one thing, it's like everything.
No.
It's our responsibility to just
No.
take care of our own health.
Exposing. Yeah. I know, I agree. I agree with that. And I think that it's exposing, this year's kind of exposed everything. It's like these problems that almost we don't get to hear about, like obesity or um, depression and those kind of aspects on how it means how you heal from things. Or why does this virus manifest totally different in one person compared to another? Well, those play factors. If one person's obese and really depressed and one person's not, hey, who knows? And but I don't know. I could go on for a long time about it, but yeah, it'll be
That's my
interesting and it'll,
wheelhouse. That's what I love. Like
yeah.
that shit. The
And
wellness.
when I talk to my friends, I've got a, yeah, yeah, and how you can kind of like, okay, I'm okay. So if I get it and I get really, really, really sick, but I at least kept in control my attitude and my, that I'm trying to be physically active and I'm staying healthy and X, Y, Z, and I've covered all my bases. That gives me more confidence in every aspect. But there, and I feel like people almost have been to not even try to do things that like just give them that sense of health ultimately. But that's what I mean with like when it comes to fear, how the way people are behaving and acting is just like it's sketchy.
Yeah, I mean, fear lowers your immune system significantly.
Yeah.
Because as soon as your cortisol levels go up, your immune system
Yeah.
levels go down. What else? Like my grandmother's 84. She had COVID a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
My ex-wife, like there's a lot of people that I know that
Yeah.
had COVID, and like I don't know one person so far. And like I'm from New York, and I lived in Costa
Yeah.
Rica. Like I don't know one person that died from COVID. And yeah, I just like I don't know any. I thought they would according to like the panic, but it was just
Yeah. Yeah.
like and the people that did die that I didn't know, like maybe it was just their fucking time. Like people die. Like we're all gonna die. Like that's
Yeah.
another thing. Like we're all gonna fucking die. Question is like, so in Chinese medicine, they have this idea of happiness. And there's only 3 criteria for happiness. Are you interested in hearing them?
Yeah.
So healthy body, calm mind, expanding spirit.
No.
That's
Healthy
it.
body, calm mind, expanding spirit. I like.
That's how you become adaptable. When you're happy, you're adaptable. Because the only thing that's guaranteed is like everything's going to change. Everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so we can't really plan for shit.
Yeah.
Going back to the quote by Mike Tyson, you know?
Yeah.
Everybody's got a fucking plan, right?
Till they get, yep. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's definitely been a year for that, I think. And making people get out of their comfort zone if they are used to feeling like they're in control. You're kind of like, no. It's about like, in a way, it's like do what you can and trust the process, you know?
Yeah. I just watched a video somebody sent me. It was like a Dana White video, how everybody was talking shit about him. Like that he's so irresponsible and all this
and
stuff.
then like the flashes of all the journalists.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
Yeah, and like I don't know, like in my experience, he did something fucking magical because he literally took like crisis and he turned it into pure opportunity.
100%.
And some people are like, oh, he's exploiting fighters. It's like, no, the fighters that don't want to fight, they're not going to fucking fight. These people need to fucking put food on their tables. That's how they make money. Like 100%. This is their career. People think like, oh, it's like, because you watch it once a month doesn't mean that like they're not doing this shit every day.
Exactly.
He's got money. He's got like $500 million. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't need to do this.
No, I know. I thought that them, well, and they've been successful doing things that people have tried to stop them from doing, right? So I was all for doing that. I just thought that the promo vid was a little bit weird.
Oh,
yeah. I was like, okay, like the like, yeah, like all the journalist spaces that were like saying negative things, but at the same time, he exactly like he said, he didn't fire. It said on there that UFC staff, nobody lost jobs in the UFC. Yeah,
nobody. How incredible is that?
Yeah, and I was pretty excited when I got to fight in August. I was like, yes, like just get me in there right away. I was messaging Bellator and saying like I want to fight as soon as possible. So when I found out they were back at it, I was like, I wanted to be in there right away. There's smart ways to be able to do this right now. Yeah. So I think at the end of the day, there's more like at MMA fighters specifically, every time you step into the cage, there's a huge risk when it comes to your health and anyways, you know what I mean? So it's like one or the other. It's when you think about something like it's you're used to taking risks that maybe other people aren't comfortable with, but
yeah. In Russia,
I bet you if you asked any of the athletes, oh sorry, yeah, if you asked any of the athletes, they were excited to get in there as well. The thought of being off, not being able to fight or do what you love and how you pay your bills for a year is scary.
In the next few years, I believe that we're going to have the highest rate of suicide and depression in the Western world that we've seen, at least from the Great Depression, if not ever in recorded history. Mostly, I don't know ratio wise, but mostly because we have like 8 billion people on the planet. So it's like, it's inevitable. Like my buddy said he was just raising funds for a village in the Philippines. And because they got hit with like 3 typhoons and COVID, the government shut down everything. So these people just like don't have food. So, I mean, it's just like, just give people a fighting chance to like figure out their own shit.
Yeah.
Figure out their own shit. But the risk thing, right? In Russian, there's a saying, "Тот, кто не рискует, не пьет шампанское," and it means like, he who doesn't risk doesn't drink the champagne. And
fair enough. It's true.
Yeah, no risk, no glory.
Yeah, exactly.
No risk, no glory. What is your, how many hours a day are you training?
Right now, anywhere from 2 to 4 hours ish. some days just an hour, you know. But yeah, a couple times a day. I have a feeling I'll be fighting soon in the new year, so I just want to be fully ready and, you know, at my best when that time comes. So
I love it. What does your daily life look like when you're not training? So some
my daily
questions to
life,
think about, like micro questions, like what time do you go to bed? What time do you wake up? Like what kind of food do you eat? What are some of your like guilty pleasures? The
okay.
training.
Okay, so my daily routine, well, if I'm not training, I stay up late. I'm a kind of a night owl. I get into a good series or documentaries or something like that, and then I don't really worry about what time I go to bed. When I wake up, uh, I walk my pups. I got two Akitas, so we always kind of start with a walk with them and have coffee, eggs, avocado. Kind of, it's usually pretty similar whether I'm in camp or out of camp. I eat pretty clean, but my guilty pleasure would definitely be chocolate. I love dark chocolate, and yeah, I love chocolate. This one chocolate bar, and specifically these Ritter Sport bars. They're like,
I know what you're
I don't
talking
even know.
about.
You know what I'm talking
I know
about.
what you're talking about.
So I see that square, and I'm like, oh god. So yeah, load up on like different flavors, and yeah, and that's my pretty much my guilty pleasure. I used to like to drink, like, you know, like to go out and have
I mean, you're
alcohol,
Canadian.
but
How can you not?
yeah, exactly. Pretty much in my blood. No, so, but I don't anymore. So I kind of like, it's just not, I haven't really enjoyed like, well, I haven't, no one's gone out anywhere all year. So there's nowhere to go.
Good time to break the pattern.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, kind of, that was probably what it was before, but pretty much life is pretty like, it's kind of like not that different in camp, out of camp, I say. I don't really have like, unless maybe I just spend more time with like my girlfriends and my family that aren't fighters. But when I'm in camp, I kind of don't like to spend too much time with other people outside of my gym family, I
Yeah, I
should
mean, they
say.
won't get it.
No,
And
no
they're
one gets it.
distracting too.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, and I also don't want to explain stuff. So it's like, oh, how's it going? It's the same shit every day.
Yeah, and
But
they also have the tendency to plant negative thoughts and negative
yeah,
thoughts.
exactly. And I'm a big believer of like, you don't really want to talk about anything early. Like, you know, and it's like if something's growing, you don't really want to, there's like a time for it to talk about it and be out and about, and during that period of time it almost feels like there's like this, yeah, I only want my good training partners and sparring partners, and you know, my husband, his son, like we all fight. So it's very, yeah, it's, we all kind of know how we roll. So
Yeah, you don't want people stomping on your seeds before they're strong.
yeah, exactly.
What do you do for leisure? Do you have any like leisure activities that you enjoy besides shows and Pilates and chocolate?
Yeah, shows, Pilates, chocolate.
It's
I love,
very balanced, those
yeah,
three.
yeah, exactly, right? I mean, is there anything better?
No.
I love, I think just like nature. Like I like to go fishing. I like to go hiking. I like to lay down in the sun and suntan when it's sunny here. And pretty much spending time with like a couple of girlfriends and my little sister and yeah, my mom.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you learning anything now? Are you like a big learner?
Yeah, well, this year I started having, well, beekeeping. I started beekeeping, and it was
Wow.
really hard. It was a tough year to do it because the weather was really weird and unpredictable, and it rained a lot during like the times that there was supposed to be nectar flows for the bees. So it was definitely a learning about beekeeping, and what it just realized, like it's got me paying so much more attention to like the little insects and like flowers, and I mean, yeah, I could go on for hours about it, but it's been so cool. So I'm really excited for next year, and the bees that we had this year laid so much foundation for us for our hives for next year. So I'm pumped about that. And yeah, when everything kind of shut down, I was like, okay, it was kind of perfect timing because all the bees came in from New Zealand, and we could get a few and start doing that. So
I think for martial artists or for athletes in general, diversification of leisure and learning is really important, because otherwise it's really easy to fall into like depression or
Yeah.
I mean anything really, because like if that's the only thing that you lean on,
Yeah.
and you lose,
Yeah.
especially, or you have to retire because something happens, maybe you
Yeah.
lose your eye like Michael
Yeah.
Bisping or something, and like
Yeah.
that, like you are fucked. Like if you didn't
Yeah.
diversify before, like that is the darkest of darkness.
I know. I believe it. I
So
believe it. So, and I don't really want to go there. So I know it's in me, like it's possible to in all of us, right? It's like it's a choice. And I think that as we one thing that's kind of our responsibility is to learn from people and pay attention to patterns and what happens for other athletes that are MMA fighters and are elders or veterans that did it, and kind of learn from them and pay attention to ways to avoid train wrecks.
yeah, what to do and what not to do, even more important.
Exactly. Exactly. And if you're not happy, it's like that's your opportunity to change. Like before, even if you can kind of see the signs, because like I know what it's like. It's easy to get addicted to these like massive highs and massive lows, right? Or not addicted to the lows, but that's what comes if you're feeling huge highs. There's an extreme. It's a balance. It's a scale, right? So I feel like as my for sure with my career, but it's more just kind of even keel, and that feels good. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
exactly.
like totally like even keel in that
Yeah.
aspect. Like, so all right, this is like the imagination round. I have some
Okay.
questions for you. Whatever comes to you, like
Okay.
you just say it.
Okay.
If you weren't a fighter, who would you be?
If I weren't a fighter, who would I be? I would be
Like
uh
what role would you play?
track star. Track
Okay,
star. Track star.
I love it. What is one thing you would love to upload into the minds of everyone in the world
Love one another. Treat others the way you want to be treated.
if you loved yourself? I'm
Yeah.
gonna add like that caveat at the end, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
we treat ourselves like
Yeah,
shit
exactly.
sometimes.
Hey, hey,
So
hey, yeah.
that's
Treat
some
people the way you would like to be treated. There
I
we go.
call it the diamond rule, right? Because they have the golden rule.
Mhm.
And in the golden rule, they're like, treat everyone as the way that you would want to be treated, right? And then I thought
Yeah.
about it. I was like, I treat myself like shit. I used to
Yeah.
treat myself like shit all the
Yeah.
time. And it was like, people don't like that. So I was
No.
like,
No.
how would I treat myself if I loved myself? And
Yeah.
that, first of all, I cried for a little bit. And then I was like, well, that's the way I would probably want to treat other people.
Yeah.
Book. What is the one book that you see yourself like recommending over and over again to people?
Probably the by Paulo Coelho.
The Alchemist, you said?
Yeah.
You know, you cut out completely. And then I was like, I
Mm.
knew she was going to say The Alchemist.
Yeah. I
I
did.
love it.
I said The Alchemist for sure.
I love it.
Because I
Me,
think people could read that when they're young and when they're old. Like it goes throughout. You could read that when you're like 14 or 74, and it still kind of connects you. Yeah.
great story. He's just like a
Hmm.
great storyteller.
Yeah. And I
Amazing.
feel like storytelling is where I've learned, like hearing stories is where are the like are my it's what's taught me the most in life, hearing stories from other people, that connection. So I learned a lot for that and through that book. And probably The Power of Intention was really big for me too with Wayne Dyer.
Yeah.
I was kind of right at the age, the cusp of like if I was gonna commit to fighting or just go on with my career and, you know, be a personal trainer or a kinesiologist or whatever it was going to lead me to do. But that was a powerful book too. So those two books.
You could always become a pro wrestler too.
Yeah, true.
I
Yeah,
mean, for sure. Like you
yeah,
definitely have like that look.
yeah, yeah. I could definitely, you might see me in WWE one day.
That would be fucking awesome. I trained with a WWE guy in Costa Rica.
Oh, cool.
Bob,
Actually, I
Bob,
think I saw your pictures.
yeah, Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, he fought in Bellator too.
yeah.
What a
He was,
fucking savage, dude. Like
yeah,
that guy was literally made of steel.
yeah,
I've never felt anybody as like hard as him in my entire life.
yeah.
Ever.
He's definitely freaking. He's huge and ripped.
Yeah, he was like 280, like 5% body fat. You wouldn't want to see that guy in a fucking alleyway.
No.
Like not on your side for sure.
Yeah, fighting with you
For
in an
sure.
alleyway, for sure.
Great guy though. Awesome guy.
Yeah.
Super sweet. All right. What is your favorite ice cream combo that you would want made for you?
Coffee and chocolate, like some sort of chocolate chip. So they kind of have that already. It's espresso flake.
Okay. I love it.
You got it.
If you were a food, what kind of food would you be?
If I was a food, tacos.
What kind? What kind of meat?
Oh, ground turkey, maybe.
Okay.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah, same. If you were an animal, what kind of animal would you be?
I'm pretty hyper. I get hyper, so I'm an animal, probably like a gazelle.
I love it. I love it. If you were a car, what kind of car would you be?
Probably like a Toyota Tacoma.
Reliable,
Yeah,
long
Long-lasting.
lasting, yeah,
reliable, and
durable.
yes, durable. Can't put
I
that
love
puppy
it.
away, can you?
No, those things are like 500,000 miles. So yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So you're going to be fighting till you're 50. I get it.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be like, no, please.
Give me a Mike Tyson's Legends League and stuff.
100%. That was actually awesome.
That's a great idea.
They did so great, though. Yeah,
They did. I mean, he looked spectacular.
He did. Yeah, he did.
He did. He was like my guy growing up. I mean, he's from Brooklyn too, so
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
hero. Yeah, for sure. Coming out of there.
And his mouthpiece was incredible. Like the things that he used to say, like how belligerent he was. It was literally like he was in like he was like in the middle of a war at any given moment. Like at any given moment, a mic would come to him and like he was like an axe swinger. The things that he would say, like he has so many quotes.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Yeah. I don't want to repeat any of them in public, but fuck, they're good. All right. So now, hypothetically, if you were dying, what would be your last meal?
If I were dying, what would be my last meal? Probably like a really good thin crust pizza, like good fresh dough. I'm gluten-free. There's one place specifically that makes just like an incredible gluten-free pizza here close by. So probably that pizza.
I love it. When you guys come down to Vegas, I'm going to make you some gluten-free pizza or maybe definitely. Sourdough. I'm not sure which one. I'm
going to hold you up to it.
I'm going to start growing my own sourdough in the next few weeks.
Oh, nice.
I got this.
Is it going to be gluten-free?
So I'm gluten-free. Like I had a lot of I did a lot of gut healing. So on the other end of like what I do is like holistic nutrition too. Mm-hmm. So I had to like figure all that. I was really sick for a long time. Sourdough works for me better than most gluten-free crusts. I mean, most gluten-free stuff.
Yeah, we started. I agree. We did a gluten-free sourdough at the beginning of COVID. And we started making, and so like a lot of buckwheat flour, and it's been unreal. And we just have like when I eat like pancakes from it, I feel better.
100%.
My stomach feels better. I'm like, oh, okay. But I've been celiac since I was 21. I got kind of diagnosed with it, so I don't eat wheat.
I mean, I honestly, like, I really believe the majority of the planet has the potential to be celiac, and I believe most people are gluten intolerant because I've worked with populations across the board in so many different spaces, and like nobody responds well to fucking modern day gluten.
No.
I haven't met somebody that like thrives from eating it. So, and everybody has different manifestations. So
yeah, for sure.
All right, the last experience. This is your last experience. It could be as long as you want, as short as you want. And who would you share it with?
My last experience. Well, probably my last experience ever, like before I die.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, wait, like I don't want to like will something to happen and then it'd be it for me.
I mean, you're for sure gonna die at some point.
Well, I really, really want to go to Italy. So my family's from there. My mom's side of the family. She's been there, but
get the fuck out of here.
So I would want to go to like Capri or something. And I mean, I've never been, so somewhere like on a boat swimming in the ocean there with my family.
I love it.
But like, I don't want that to happen this year, and the next thing you know, see ya.
Yeah, I mean, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Last piece of advice for the next generation.
Last piece of advice for the next generation would be stay consistent. So whatever it is, no matter what anybody tells you, if it's what your heart's calling you to do it and stay consistent with it. The grass can seem greener, but stick to what's good for you and your path.
Yeah, it's only greener where you water it.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a pre-frame to the next question. Are you gonna be buried or are you gonna be burned?
Burned.
Okay. So what is gonna be the line? What is gonna be the line on your urn?
Oh God. Like I kind of imagine my ashes sprinkled like at sea or in a garden or something, but oh God.
I'm gonna be a tree.
On there?
I'm gonna be a fruit-bearing tree.
Yeah, there you go. And
they have kits for that.
Oh, what would it be? I don't know. I feel like you have to ask somebody else that knows me because it's gonna be them, right?
Here lies Julia Budd.
Yeah, probably like, oh fuck, it's so corny.
Corny's good. It might be cool in like 20 years.
I think that it would probably just say like, I don't know, maybe a quote or something from. Trying to think.
It'd be great if it just said that. I don't know, maybe a quote or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know, maybe a quote or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it would say.
All right, so I have like one big question. All right, okay. So I believe your husband is also your trainer.
Yes.
Was he always your trainer?
No, we were good friends before. We were both in other relationships before and then we were really good friends. And then as those relationships kind of faded away, breakups, then
you killed each other's partners.
Yeah. Then we fell in love, murdered our partners. And then no, they're still alive.
How does that, how do you make it work with those two different hats?
It's really hard, but at the same time, we're both committed to the same thing. And we know each other like so good. So I think that what it kind of had to, it's evolving all the time as we got to be honest with each other. And sometimes it's really hard to tell the truth, especially if it's like a bad training session or feeling like crap. And it's definitely, but it's good to have that person be really honest with me. And we know each other really well. So I think it's benefited. It's definitely gotten easier over the years. Cause in the beginning it was more so like bumping heads and just it was tough for sure. But now I feel like we've made a really good team and we understand what works for us and how to push each other and, evolve and get better. And so it's been good, but definitely it has its challenges.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard enough to just wear one hat where it's just a relationship. And then it's like a different kind of relationship where they have to be brutally constructive criticism.
Yeah. And so I think that it's been tough because like sometimes I'll be like, I finish training, come home, shower, want to just like not talk about it. And it's like something would have happened in training that has to it's like, can we just talk about that tomorrow? But no, it gets talked about there. And it can feel like you can't just switch off. But at the same time, it is, it's how we work through things too. So I think if you just ignored it and there's like a big elephant in the room, like you sucked in training today badly. And I'm like, completely out to lunch or something, not realizing what it is. There's also that aspect. And I think that a lot of people, it makes me want to do better because I know that he loves me and I know that he wants the best for me and his heart's in the right place. And at the end of the day, it's like, when I win, like we all win. And I'm always somebody that's like, I would take care of other people before I take care of myself. So I think it's a good motivating factor for me as well, making my family proud, and doing that. So it's like, it gives me that extra little push of, oh, I can see, yeah, I want to work harder because it's for you, not me, almost.
Yeah.
Or my team. That was another thing. It's like the people around me, you know, we're all on this roller coaster together. So it gives me something to fight for sure.
Community is definitely important.
Mm-hmm.
Community and like having like a real team. Like that's what I feel like that's a big part of like what we're missing as humans nowadays, like tribe.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we don't have anybody in our lives to like truly hold us accountable.
Yeah.
And like you said, like it's just easy to like go out to lunch after like you do something like fucking retarded. And
like, no, you need to like address what you've done.
The only way out is through. Like you can only go through. And like, but like for my personality type, are you familiar with the Enneagram?
Enneagram, no.
Yeah. If you're interested, I'll send it to you. It's a personality typing.
Okay.
It's like super ancient, but like there's certain personality types that just fucking hate conflict.
Okay.
And conflict like creates growth, you know, like that's how you make a diamond, is like pressure.
Yeah.
And my personality type's the opposite. Like it kind of like
same. And I've been told that, like, can't you just shut up?
No,
not today, or probably never. But
yeah, I mean, you know, it's rare though, you know, but I see a lot of like MMA and like fighter warrior types. Like Boss was on the Boss Rutan was on the podcast last week. Oh yeah. He is not like, he definitely has that. He does not give a fuck about conflict.
No. I don't. He seems like he doesn't give a fuck about a lot of things, especially when I watched him fighting back in the day. He was just legend. Great
story too. Legend. And like
cool.
Yeah,
I'll listen to it. Yeah, I didn't know you.
Yeah, I had him on last week. He's an interesting character for sure.
Awesome.
Well, we are at the end of this journey, and the question for you is there anything that we didn't talk about that you would like to share with the listeners?
No, just, no, I feel like we addressed lots and it's been fun.
Yeah, it's definitely been fun. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
I will be cheering for you to take out Cyborg in 2021.
It's coming.
I know. So I'm excited.
Yeah, thank you.
And
thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate you for your time, for you sharing your time and you sharing like your energy. Yeah, incredible.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to hanging out and getting some training in soon.
For sure.
As soon as I'm able to,
I'll drive down to Vegas.
That's true. You guys are relatively close.
Yeah, not too far.
Huh.
Yeah,
well,
so.
Perfect. Well, you guys always have a place to stay while I'm in Vegas.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Have a beautiful rest of your day, and we'll talk soon. Ciao.
You too. Bye. Take care. Bye.
Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode. And whether you listened to this one episode or all of them, I want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the love. Thank you for sharing the show with your friends. And thank you for the feedback. There's new shows posted a few times a week. So please subscribe on whatever platform you enjoy using the most, because you don't want to miss some of these superstars I'll be having conversations with. And for the listeners that have been asking if I'm available for coaching or I do live events, the short answer to that question is yes. I have a few programs available, and it just depends on what's the right fit for both of us. I'll talk to you guys soon. I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day.